A ghost calls. I still remember the chilling events of those days, and though years have passed, they remain vivid in my mind. Back then, I was living in an apartment with 3 other girls, all of us far from home, focused on our studies. Strange, inexplicable things began happening to us in that apartment, events that none of us could ever fully explain. One evening, I was sitting alone in the living room, watching TV. The quiet hum of the television was the only sound in the apartment, and everything seemed perfectly normal. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a faint, glowing red light on my left. My heart skipped a beat. I quickly turned my head to see what it was, but to my astonishment, there was nothing there. The glowing figure, whatever it was, had vanished, leaving no trace behind, as if it had never existed. When I told my roommates about the encounter, I expected them to dismiss it, but instead, they looked at each other uneasily. Each of them had experienced something similar: strange lights, fleeting shadows, and the feeling of being watched. None of us could explain what was happening, but we tried to brush it off. The incident that finally drove us out of that apartment happened late one night. We were all sitting in the living room together, chatting and laughing, when suddenly the apartment's landline phone rang. The sound startled us. We rarely used the landline. One of my roommates went to check the caller ID, and what she saw made her freeze in terror. The call was coming from her own phone. Her mobile phone, she told us, was in her room, untouched. We were all in the living room. No one could possibly be in her room. She stared at us, wide-eyed and pale, as we tried to process what was happening. Hesitantly, we answered the call. On the other end, there was no voice, no words, just eerie, haunting music. The sound sent shivers down my spine. My roommate, whose number had apparently called us, bolted to her room to investigate. When she returned, her face was ashen. There was nothing in her room that could have caused the call. Her phone was exactly where she had left it, completely untouched. And there was no device in the room that could have played the strange music we had heard. That was the final straw. The very next day, we packed our things and left the apartment for good. To this day, none of us can explain what happened in that eerie place. But one thing is certain: we were not alone in that apartment. Something unexplainable, something otherworldly, had made its presence known, and it still haunts me to think about it.